Gregory, can you hear me? Oh, we've just lost Gregory. Hopefully he can come back. Yes, he's back, I think. Gregory, are you back?
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Gregory. How are you, and how is the weather where you are?
Well, it's already dark and cold.
Dark and cold. Okay. I would say, yeah, it is probably cold, although inside, of course, we don't feel so cold. So, welcome, listeners. Happy New Year again. This is the Spiritual Discussion Program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. And we have a new topic each week for discussion. The topic tonight is You are endowed with the strength for everything. You are endowed with the strength for everything. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number. Just Gregor, can you go on mute? Yeah. So, as I said, you can contact us with any question or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 07939641958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00447939641958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with what is the Grail message? The Grail message in the light of truth by Abdushin is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized, and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Abdushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic we're discussing tonight is you are endowed with the strength for everything. You are endowed with the strength for everything. And you're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Gregory, I like to look in the dictionary with the meaning of the words in the topic or title for the show. So tonight's topic is you are endowed with the strength for everything. So the first key word there is endowed. So I looked up in the dictionary the meaning of endowed or endow, and it says the first meaning it gives is provide with a quality, ability, or asset. And they give an example there. He was endowed with tremendous physical strength. So, Gregory, is that definition good for our discussion tonight? You're on mute, sorry. Gregory, can you hear me? You're on mute still. Maybe I will try and see if I can do something. Oh, you're back. Yeah, good.
Yeah, that definition is usable, but as usual, it doesn't give a complete picture, which may be very embracing.
Okay. Before you add to make it more embracing, I would like to give you another second meaning given in the dictionary. I'm not sure if this is going to help here, but let me just say it. So this is again another meaning for the word endowed. Give or bequeath an income or property to a person or institution. He endowed the church, the example they give there, he endowed the church with lands. I mean, this is the material definition there. But Gregory, is that useful at all?
Yeah, the problem with some of these phrases, there are times these phrases are used as metaphors. There are times these phrases are very direct. So even picking up some of the key words, sometimes may not give that required picture, although it's maybe approximate.
Right. Okay. So would you like to, let's say, give your own, not your own, but let's say a better definition for this word endowed?
I wouldn't say a better definition, but one would say whenever that word endowed is used, it means there is a capability that has been granted that capability which requires beneficial management.
I'm just making a note of that. Capability that has been granted.
And, the capability that requires beneficial management.
And requires beneficial management. Requires
yes.
Beneficial. I'm just noting it. Okay, good. So let's continue. Okay, so the next keyword, just to remind again, listeners, the topic tonight is you are endowed with the strength for everything. So we looked at the word endowed, and we are saying that a good, let's say, way you can look at it is the capability that has been granted and requires beneficial management. So the next word I have there is strength. And again, in the dictionary, it says the quality or state of being physically strong. Cycling can help you build up your strength. I mean, this is definitely a materialistic meaning here. So, Gregory, again, is that any use for us?
Well, you already said it's rhetorics. Rhetorics just refer to themselves, and I don't think one can go with that.
Right. Well, again, I have a second definition again from the dictionary, and it says the capacity of an object or substance to withstand great force or pressure. How
yes, about such a definition is for the physical sciences.
Right. Okay, yes, again, it's really tuned in for that. I mean, the dictionary, obviously, there's focus on that, or at least in this case, they're focusing a lot on that aspect, which is not really how we want to talk about things. So, just to remind again the topic, so you are endowed with the strength for everything. I think we don't need to look up the meaning of everything. We'll just take it as literally what it means, everything. And then if it is inappropriate, we will, bring that out. Okay, so Gregory, I know already we've had this issue of physical strength, and then we know it's not really that we are referring to. Are we talking, Gregory, here, when we say, because it's a spiritual discussion, are we talking about spiritual strength?
Well, it is the spiritual strength that really counts, because that's what the program is all about, and not physics per se or the sciences. Here, like one just mentioned, these expressions sometimes are metaphors, and one has to reflect deeper into it in an artistic way.
Right. Okay, so obviously we will do that. I just use these words in the dictionary as a foundation or a starting point to look at this topic. So, okay. Now, we're talking about spiritual strength, really. And so what actually is spiritual strength, Gregory?
We haven't finished with the noun or strength which you mentioned.
Right.
I thought we were going to discuss that.
Okay. The meaning of strength. Do you mean the meaning? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, because you've taken the dictionary one.
Yes.
And
okay, let's look at spiritual meaning. Yes. So what do we mean by the spiritual strength? Yeah. What is the spiritual meaning then?
Basically, it borders on the ability to respond to challenges on one's path.
The ability to respond, I'm just noting it now, to respond.
The ability to respond or withstand to challenges on one's path.
To challenges on one's path.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Which means things that we deal with in life. So, yes. Okay, good. So, all right. I mean, it's a very positive line. You are endowed. with the strength for everything. And that might be surprising for people to think that they have this strength for everything, because
But
we always,
again, be
yes,
careful, because there is an exclamation mark at the end of it.
right, right, okay, okay. So it looks like what you're pointing to, Gregory, there's a potential for it, but doesn't mean that you can just um, you have it like ready. Is that what you're pointing to?
No, what one is trying to hear is that with the exclamation mark, it gives a slightly deeper impression. That means
All
one
right.
is endowed with the capability to deal with challenges on one's part within that one refers to as the spiritual.
Right. So if I understand you properly there, uh, we have the capability, you've said it already, we basically to deal with everything we come across in life, and or what we need to, I was going to say develop, but let's not go there just yet. But basically, we have that capability ready. So I'm trying to think, Gregory. I'm just trying. These words, they're so appealing and inspiring, but you want to know what it really means. Because, as I say, it might be a surprise for some people to think, oh, I have this ability, or I'm endowed with strength for everything, you know? Um, so that exclamation marks, it could be surprising for some people that they don't know they have this capability. So, Gregory, just to explore that, is that ability um, always at our hands, or is it something you have to develop it?
Basically, what this expression means is that one is endowed, or one has the ability, or one needs to cultivate the ability, all right, in dealing with the challenges on one's path. But never forget that these challenges on one's path, these challenges have only come about with the laws of creation that have placed these innate abilities in man. Therefore, as one is able to respond to these challenges which have arisen because the human spirit seed wishes to become conscious. So as the human spirit seed strives for consciousness, these abilities, or these grains of abilities, are cultivated. And when used aright, it becomes one's strength.
Thank you for this answer and picture, Gregory. From what you've just said, I'm getting a picture that you know. Well, we all know we don't live by ourselves, but there's like a structure and there's a framework. I think you've used the word framework in the past as well, where you know things are, like we say, prepared or built or designed, that they all work together. So you just say, for example, just to not directly with our discussion at the moment, but let's say we had a power, uh, but this power, if we call it our power, doesn't mean, oh, we can do what we like with this power, because there's others who are affected by the power, so we have to be mindful of that. So similarly, from what you're talking about, these capabilities that we have to been granted, I should say, and which are supposed to be used beneficially. We need to be mindful of how we first become aware of the strength you can say that we have been given. You're endowed with strength, and then how you apply it. So, but let's say there's a process in receiving the strength and how we apply it, and then there's just like the framework, as we've said in the past, there's a framework how this all operates. So I'm just thinking on that. So Gregory, I know some of these questions might sound weird or silly, but do we have like limitless strength, or you can call upon help? I'm just trying to picture that.
Have you finished?
Yes.
You were asking if we have limitless strength.
Yes.
In the first instance, that's which we refer to as strength is only an ability to respond or to withstand challenges on our path. But these only become manifest depending on how we respond to these challenges. If our response to these challenges is lukewarm, then it seems as if we don't have the strength. If our responses are not lukewarm, because that which is deep within us, we make use of it beneficially, then it manifests as if we have strength. But we keep building up on it each time we have a challenge. It is the degree of how much we have built up on these challenges which accost us on our path. That is what demonstrates how much strength we have. What you will find is that there is a limit to the capabilities of the challenges that will approach the human personality. Therefore, one cannot go beyond these challenges which have been put before man in order to cultivate those talents that are within it. So the idea of limitless strength is completely out of the question, because that limitless strength, which is suggestive of limitless power, the human personality being a finite body cannot withstand of the limitless power or the limitless strength. Only that which has been tailored to meet, or tailored for it to meet its challenges, only that is granted in accordance with the laws through which it, the human spirit, came into existence.
Thank you so much for this answer, Gregory, and the picture that you painted there. What I'm seeing very clearly is that you're supposed to get strength or power that you need to fulfill your task or whatever your challenges that you're going to deal with.
Yes.
So you don't need more and you don't need less. So it's according to what you need. That's what you're going to receive, or what you can capable of receiving, let's say. And there's no need to. I'm going to explore that more in a minute, actually, because I'm just thinking about that. But it's like a balance. There has to be a balance, and if you overdo something, obviously there's a destructive effect, and if you underdo it, also there's some, let's say, less beneficial effect. So, okay, we will continue with that in a moment. Yes, it's coming. It's such an incredibly interesting topic to think about. Now, I was going to bring this up yet, but now this strength, Gregory, we human beings, we know that we have free will, and we can do good or evil. It's just a direction, choice, go this way or go that way. And then, but the word strength is completely neutral. It doesn't say you have capability in a good or in a sort of negative way. It's just how you apply it. And I'm just thinking, Gregory, just if you apply this strength in normally you would think of in a good way, but if you applied it in an evil way, does it have the same effect? When I say same, I mean, just like I said, limitless. Is there the same level of strength would apply in, let's say, you use it good, as if you did it in evil?
That which is of benefit in accordance with the laws of creation is constructive. That which is not in accordance with the laws of creation or laws of nature is destructive. Therefore, the power which is used, that power which is neutral, when being used for that which is not constructive, that strength or that power is diminished. That means it does not resonate and it goes to waste.
Right. That is definitely very interesting what you've said there. I'm going to explore that in a moment further. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. And if you are interested in knowing more about the Grail message, or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is, you are endowed with the strength for everything. You are endowed with the strength for everything. And please, if you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. 8. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space, Grail, message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is You Are Endowed with the Strength for Everything. Of course, you can listen to our previous shows as well on YouTube. Thirdly, you can also listen to us on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, just at the last question, we talked about using our strengths, or using the power and strength, you can say, for good or evil, and what would be the effect. Is it an equal effect in good when we do apply it for the good and when we apply it for evil? And you said that even evil, it would be diminished. The effect would be diminished compared to what would be the effect of the good. And yet, Gregory, the power is neutral. We've said it is neutral. So it sounds a bit strange. And we know that we are very capable of destruction on the earth as human beings. In fact, we seem to be more destructive than beneficial. We've developed nuclear weapon and so on and so on. Don't have to pick any particular example, but the effects of what we have done on the earth is quite obvious and clear. So I'm wondering, how can the evil effect be diminished compared to the effect of the good? It seems a bit, how can I say, doesn't sound right.
Well, what does not sound right is the effects of that which is evil being beneficial.
Right.
Because that which is good is beneficial to all. What many only consider is only the outward appearance. That is how they measure that which is of benefit to them. There are other measures, not only the outward appearance, but also the inner benefits which accrue to man, that which resonates here within the world of matter, that which resonates in the world of the animistics, and that which resonates in the spiritual, for man is of spirit. So when you consider these categories, that which is constructive, that draws man up, because many partake of the benefits. That which is destructive, that only occurs in the world of matter, or basically here on earth. So fewer personalities partake of that goodness or of that evil. So it's a matter of having the right perspective to that which is evil, which strives to prevent the unfolding of the strength of the human personality, which strives to block the development of the innate talents which of the human personality that has a limited effect within the scenario of the earth and its environs. That's where it is effective. It doesn't go far to be of benefit in the animistic and in the spiritual. So one has to look at the totality of an activity and ask oneself, who benefits? And when one looks at it carefully, and in the case of evil, which by itself is making the efforts to make sure there is no benefit, that means there is no development. So you find that subsequently, what then happens is that the opportunities which would have been made available for the developing human spirits, those opportunities are curtailed. So you ask yourself, which is better, to have uncurtailed opportunities or to have curtailed opportunities? For that which is evil makes man sink, and as he sinks deeper, it becomes denser. And once it becomes denser, its views become narrower and narrower. And that is why one is stressing that only that which is constructive is of benefit, not only earthly or the animistic, but also spiritually.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this answer and picture. And really, there's a lot you've said there. I mean, there's so much we can pick into that. I think the first point was about the perspective, seeing the big picture. And we're not talking only earthly, we're talking about spiritual effects as well. And yeah, most of the examples I've been picking have been the earthly ones. So, which, let's say, we may not be noticing the spiritual benefits and effects so much on the earth. We seem to be almost ignorant of that. And I think what most of you had said there, you know, how it affects the spiritual, the effects in the spiritual, and even animistic, as you mentioned. So I can see that. And also, Gregory, what I remember when we were looking at the definition of being endowed or having strength, let's say you gave some qualification there. So I'm just going to, well, you've said it already, the capability. This is about talking about endowed, meaning of being endowed, capability that has been granted and requires beneficial management. It sounds a bit technical, but that's the, let's say, word we have chosen for this. So what I'm basically saying is we need to look at these things in this context. So when you look at good and when you look at evil, it has to be looked at with this context. Our capability has to have this beneficial effect. And if it goes against the beneficial effect, then it has limited sort of effect. So thank you for that. Now, I'm going to move to another point, the topic. We said we are endowed with the strength for, you're endowed with the strength for everything. Like everything is possible, or nothing is impossible. Some people might say like this, and that sounds, how can I say, unbelievable as well. Can we truly say that? And let me give some context or some example. So can we really have strength for everything in life? For example, there are diseases that we are not able to overcome, which are even fatal and have no cure. So are we given strength to overcome that sort of disease?
If one goes back to the expression again, you are endowed with the strength for everything, and at the end of everything there is an exclamation mark. Strength in itself is a virtue. That means if it's a virtue, it has to be cultivated. And the cultivation is how one responds to the challenges in one's path. So it means it is not ready-made strength. You cultivate it in accordance on how you yourself are able to respond to these challenges. And being a virtue, that's basically is what it means. With everything and the exclamation mark, it already gives the strongest impression that is within the capabilities which had been granted the human personality to cultivate. So that means there is already a limit to the talents which had been granted. Within that limit, one is granted the strength, that virtue of strength, depending on how you manifest it through your personal activities. Therefore, in the case of diseases, it all depends on how man, in his or her inner attitude, investigates these diseases. There are many a disease which many will look at and say, oh, this is hopeless. Or because they themselves have not searched deeply enough. After all, when you consider it, for thousands of years, man only had the ability to use horses and camels, or to fly with birds. If one had talked about motor cars or aircraft, it would have been dismissed. But now, aircraft is nothing big because you see it every day. Here we are discussing using so-called latest technology. 500 years ago, that was not the case. Does that mean because man has not cultivated, hasn't got to that reach where he or she can recognize the properties which are available, the features which are available in accordance with the laws of nature, which are available in nature, because he hasn't got to that extent of realization? Does that mean he is not capable of reaching that particular point, the more he or she investigates in accordance with the laws of creation of nature, this investigation taking the form of not only intellectual investigation, but also investigation using the intuitive perception. The combination of both, gradually in a step-by-step manner, will enable man to come to a more resilient, a grander picture where he or she can make use of the features which is available, the features in nature which is available, to use it for its own benefits. That beneficial management is required. First, it has to recognize. And having recognized these features, these properties, then he has to learn to manage it, which only means he has to adjust himself or herself in accordance with the living laws of nature. So yes, some of these illnesses have no solution yet because the human spirit has not sought deep enough to find solution to them.
Thank you again for this answer, Gregory. I'm thinking, it's like, everything is a process, and maybe sometimes we look at, let's say, things that happen in films or these superhero comics where you could call it is fantasy things happening, and then we mix that up with reality that can happen in reality, and and we know reality is totally different. You have to work, you get what you deserve. You have to work for these things, so it doesn't just appear. You say you are endowed with the strength for everything. It's not just like that you can just get what you want. You have to work for it. So thank you for that. Now, Gregory, behind the strength is the word of the power. You might have a capability, but there has to be a power behind this, and none of us really have, in quotes, any power. We can have the power to think and or have a dream, but the real power, let's say, is coming. We're just using it and applying what we receive. So I'm just thinking. Can we Yes, I'm trying to just think of this, what to ask about it. So, Gregory, this power that we use in our daily life and in any activity, if, and also, you said we have endowed with strength. So, and you're saying we should cultivate, our strength. So, is that part of that cultivating? Is that like developing the right attitude to receive the power? Is that part of the, so I'm pointing to Gregory, so let's say the power comes from God, the source. So do we have to pray to let the power, to receive the power or to apply the power? Gregory?
Yes, that noise, I'm waiting for it to subside.
I see, okay.
One should always reflect very calmly. It depends on how, for each individual, they open themselves in their daily activities. There are some who open themselves when they listen to music. There are others who open themselves in silence. There are others who may open themselves in the so-called prayer mode. But all these have one thing in common: opening oneself. The more the personality is able to open itself, the more it is able to receive. That is in accordance with these laws of nature, of creation. The less a personality is able to open itself, the less is able to receive. Now, the question which others may raise: how do we open ourselves? That is intrinsic to each individual personality. Why? Because deep within, the human personality is of spirit. How it responds to challenges is intrinsic to that particular personality. So each personality must, in one way or the other, cultivate their inner response on how they will deal with challenges. Because it will be counterproductive to say, oh, you must, anytime there's a challenge, go kneel down and pray. That will not work. Anytime there's a challenge, go listen to music. So each personality has his or her own way in opening itself. But one thing is very certain: in the time of greatest challenge, when the human spirit is hit with unexpected challenges, when it knows there is no other way to go, then the need is greatest. In that particular instance, that power which has always been there is nearest to one. One only needs, in humility, to open oneself and make use of this.
Thank you very much for this answer, Gregory. I can, straight away when you were talking, I could see that, each person is an individual. Some even don't believe in God. It's a variety of human beings with variety of, let's say, attitudes. And, the key word there was being open. And, how you're open is how you can, use your ability in a particular direction. And so, according to how you are, you will apply it. And, we have a variety of human beings on this earth with different views, understanding, and capabilities even, or thinking even. And going from there, Gregory, I'm wondering, there are some people who are naturally talented, in certain field than others, so they can achieve, let's say, more, the ones who are naturally talented, than the ones who are not so naturally talented. But here we are saying you are endowed with the strength for everything. So I just want to check there. Can everyone have the strength for everything, like in every field, and um, yeah.
That power which is utilized by the individual is neutral. What you are referring to when you made that remark of some more talented or naturally talented, that only seemed to be a result of how the individual had been cultivating a particular talent, which cultivation might have started in past earth lives, and with the continuation of, or striving along that line, is able to achieve much along the line in that cultivation. So one should not be looking at another and say, oh, I'm trying to compare myself. There are some people who have been along the music line, as you have in the arts. There are others who have been in the technological line. There are others who are along the so-called scientific line. Each one, take for instance, the personality who is a medical professional, sort of complements or adds in his own way that which is required for the whole, as compared to the other person who plays music or who composes music. So one should not expect one to be jumping in a limited earth life to become jack of all trades. In humility, that means taking things in token, working on it very diligently. That is required. So that which a personality can cultivate at a particular time is limited. So one shouldn't expect the person who knows how to build houses comparing himself to the person who is a doctor, a musician, a football player, and that is not how it goes. Things are done in bits in which you learn that which is necessary at a particular time. After all, when you are learning a language, there are some who are very versatile in the language. There are some who are just starting with the language. So you have to respect those who are more versatile. Those who are more versatile, you see them as those who are more endowed. There is no one who is so complete, who is so perfect that he or she does not have to struggle. It is that struggle, in quotes, it is that striving that strengthens the human personality. So one should be contented with the opportunities which nature, which creation grants it. And in moving along such direction, is able to achieve that which is necessary for it.
Thank you so much again, Gregory, for this answer and picture. Um, you can see that life, each person is an individual and is part of a humanity, and we need talents, different abilities, you know, because not everybody is supposed to go to university and become professor. Otherwise, the rest of the world, what will be who will do the work for the rest of the world, or other things that need to be done. So, we need you could say the variety is the spice of life. So we need that. So, yeah, thank you for that. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It's a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. And if you would like to find out more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell it. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is, you are endowed with the strength for everything. You are endowed with the strength for everything. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can also listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space, Grail, message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is, you are endowed with the strength for everything. And of course, you can listen to our recordings of our previous shows as well, also on YouTube. Thirdly, we're broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1, the number 1. Now, Gregory, let's say we all have our dreams, and we're talking about you are endowed with the strength for everything. So does that mean if we have a dreaming meaning a vision or something you want to do or establish, that you receive it, or that you are touched or inspired by when you see something. So does it mean, Gregory, that we have this strength to develop that dream, to fulfill that dream, let's say, and that's the question. Do we have the strength to fulfill our dream if we receive an idea?
If that, in quotes, dream in its fulfillment is in accordance with the laws of nature, with the laws of creation that will bring benefits to the human personality in such a way that it will rise in accordance with these laws, then depending on how the human spirit goes about it, as much power is granted. If, however, the so-called dreams is for material things, to be able to suppress others. If that dream is about pride, of greed, of envy, of slothfulness, of lust or gluttony, then that power, the use of it is highly diminished. So it is not that, oh, I have a dream. What, after all, is a dream? One has some aspirations, or in quotes, some longing, which one will wish to accomplish. But each personality must ask themselves, are these, in quotes, dreams in accordance with the creative laws of nature? Because what then happens subsequently, when many find that they cannot pursue these dreams in a lawful manner, they then resort to another manner which violates the laws of nature or of creation. A simple example is somebody says he has a dream to be a rich person. And instead of him or her proceeding to work genuinely, it resorts to stealing from others. Because according to it, the end justifies the means. Whereas that which is beneficial, it is the means that we justify it. It is how one has applied the power which is available to it, that power which is neutral. It is that how that counts, not violating the rights of others, decimating the rights of others, because one has a dream.
Thank you so much for this answer, Gregory. And it's like you are breaking it down, what a dream, type of dream it might be that we might come up with. Let's say I was going to, in my own, when I was saying the question in my head, I was only thinking of, let's say, a beautiful dream or a good dream, beneficial, for benefit for either yourself or others, fellow human beings. So, but of course, some people, even with that dream, they can, as you point out, can also approach it in let's say, harmful manner rather than the beneficial manner. So, and even you've pointed to the dream, it might be materialistic in its content rather than maybe more, I'll use the word idealistic. Because when you think of a dream, it's something like an idealistic idea or wish. So, okay, that's good. Now, Gregory, you talked about power, and strength. But what about love? And how do I mean that? Because it sounds a bit very neutral, what we've been saying so in many ways, that you have a strength and you have a power, or you can have, let's say, access to the power, and you can build up a strength, or develop a strength, and that is sounding very neutral. And then, yes, you said you should, if you use it beneficially, it will, let's say, the effect would be more widespread, you can say. And if it is used in an evil way, then it would be a destructive effect. But what about, we haven't mentioned love yet. Where does love come into this?
First, there must be clarity in these expressions.
Yes.
When the word strength is used, it is basically a virtue, depending on how one has cultivated in using the power to deal with the challenges on one's part. And that's why one was referring to the ability to respond or to withstand challenges on one's path. To withstand challenges on one's part, the power is required. So strength in itself is a virtue which is cultivated. The measure of it is a different story altogether. But the more one is able to use of this power in accordance with the laws of creation, the stronger one is. That is how far one may refer to in strength. The love which you yourself mentioned, that love which is binding, which attracts and is bound, that love is of a substance, basically, it's of substantiality. That is what attracts, and that is what makes a thing. Without love, there is no thing. One must be very careful when considering all these concepts, because you have that in many cases there are so many figures of speech, and therefore one must categorize love as a noun and also love as a verb. The love as a noun is personalized, for it attracts, it brings together in the sense of one for all and all for one. It binds. However, love as a verb, as an activity, is expressed only in accordance with the living laws of creation. In the sense, whoever receives must make use of that which it has received, albeit the power, must make use of it first for its own benefit and then pass it on. That is love as a verb, as an activity. All this, the love, the power, and the law, which law is also personalized. These form the triad in creation. On the right-hand side is the personalization of the love. On the left is the personalization of the will of the Almighty, and at the top is the power. Therein lies the Trinity.
Thank you very much again, Gregory, for this picture. I'm throwing things into our discussion all from different angles. And as you've said, we really need to know the concepts of all of these things properly. And, you know, it's like we need to know, somebody may have a different idea of love to the one what we are discussing here. So it's I can see why it's necessary to go and explain these concepts. And what I would like to look further now, Gregory, is, you could say, the approach of how we receive, or the strength or virtue that you have said, you know, how we apply it. And earlier we mentioned prayer, and you know, it's like, I know we can't give a formula for every person, or this is what you should do or not do, but I want to explore different, you could say, approaches, like I said. So you could say, develop ourselves, our talents, you can say, and, you know, so that we can apply the strength in a beneficial way. Now, so we talked about prayer, Gregory. How about there are so many, let's say, people go to different, let's say, courses or retreats for, you could say, to develop themselves. And I'm wondering, you know, we talked about attitude. So is it just, Gregory, we just express our will, what we wish to develop, or strength we wish to apply? Do we do that in silence? Do we need to even express it? Let me say that, yeah, for something to manifest?
Maybe one needs to provide some very concrete examples. You mentioned one wishes to develop oneself. Is it development of oneself intellectually, cultivation of a skill to know how to drive a car? Is that what you are referring to? Or the inner development by which one means the virtues?
The latter, the virtues.
If it's of the virtue, consider the virtue of diligence. That virtue of diligence is cultivated. To cultivate does not mean that the whole thing has grown. It means to take the grain which is there, to put it to use, to provide opportunities such that that grain of diligence will grow. It is an activity. The same happens with the fulfillment of duty. Therefore, creation will provide the human personality, the budding human personality, the opportunities, that is the grace, such that they can apply themselves. By applying themselves, they in their decisions, in their inner decisions, in their intuitions, they are able to draw of this power and apply it to that particular scenario. In doing that, they will not all of a sudden dig so deep, but will take things in simplicity, that is, in humility, in bits. When one needs to climb a hill, it is possible to go in little steps and not to make a massive jump. In taking things in simplicity, that means in little steps, it is able to move from one little step to another little step, higher and higher. It's able to reflect as it moves, as it proceeds along that direction. Therefore, one must, at the same time, in cultivating diligence or in fulfillment of duty, one must start with little things. One shouldn't wait to start with the big things.
Thank you for that answer. And it's like you could say, I don't know if I should say advice or guidance, but a way, you could say, like you said, approaches, how you approach some to develop yourself in a particular way. So thank you for that. I'm thinking also, Gregory, with regarding these approaches, some people, let's say, do other activities which they would say they're trying to I'll give this let's say earthly example first. Let's say somebody want to give up smoking, and we know that is addictive. The smoking is addictive for people. It's very hard for them to give up, and there are many, let's say, ways that people try, and one of them could be let's say hypnotism and such things. Let's call it occult practices. Now they're trying to do something beneficial, but can such approaches be harmful or it is beneficial?
You yourself mentioned hypnotism. When hypnotism is mentioned, the question the human personality must ask themselves, is it beneficial to it? Is it beneficial that the human personality, the inner core, that is the soul, if the soul is tied such that it is unable to make a free decision, then that cannot be of benefit. For what hypnotism is a binding of the soul. In that case, that which has not been taken using the free will of man is not of benefit to it. So you do not bind a human spirit, that means through special invocation or that which many have cultivated. They make the soul sometimes unnecessarily alert, or it's as if so much is opened within it in which it is not free to make decisions on how it wishes to proceed. One may refer more when there's the direction given in the walk in the light of truth, the Grail message, where hypnotism is discussed. There is the need to understand what happens in that particular scenario. Therefore, one should not easily give in to some of these practices, these so-called occult practices, which tend to bind the person.
Thank you for that, Gregory. I brought that out because there's so many, paths people can take for whatever beneficial goal they might be seeking, and but they may not be aware, what the dangers are and the consequences are. Because you come with you could say, a good right word, goodness, like a good attitude, or I can't think of the exact phrase I want to use here, but the practice that you adopt, you don't know what it involves. So, and I'm trying to find a way, Gregory, to say, or find for people to see, let's say, because we can't study everything deeply. When we do this will happen, or that will, if we do something else will happen. Is there a way, Gregory, to know about if there's a practice that we might pursue, that it could be harmful or it could be beneficial? Is there, without knowing much about it?
There is no way to know about something if one, as such, is not involved. Is not involved either intellectually or intuitively. Because in that particular scenario, there is a disconnection. So the thoughts of knowing something without any connection to that, without any knowledge, that does not make any sense. It is the natural right of the individual to investigate. To investigate doesn't mean you jump in with both feet. To first strive to, in quotes, read about it, and using one's intuition to make a decision. Why is one granted that innate ability to decide? If that's which one wishes to pursue is poison, should one then go into it? So this advice, which many expect, that will not happen. Each person must strive to investigate. For only that which the human spirit engages in, only that it will know about. Else, it will not know about it. Many who wish to know about the beyond, they, in their activities, must prepare themselves. For there are everyday examples when one goes to sleep and one wakes up. So the human spirit must strive in their activities to open themselves to these challenges That is how the strength will be cultivated. Like it's been said, you are endowed with the strength for everything. That means there is the inner capability. You yourself must cultivate the capabilities. And this strength, which is a virtue, you yourself must use the power which is available for your use. You must use this power to deal with the challenges. For whoever wishes not to have challenges in life, such a personality is dead. For motion is a law in creation.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer. And in the next part, we will go deeper on this, let's say, nature, the laws of nature. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. And if you're interested in knowing more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is you are endowed with the strength for everything. You are endowed with the strength for everything. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 004479 39 641 958. And again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show also on YouTube the next day. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space, Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is you are endowed with the strength for everything. And of course, you can listen to our other previous shows as well, also on YouTube. Thirdly, you can listen to us on Zeno, that's ZENO.fm/Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, what I want to look at now is that it's like the process of how we could say, use the power that to receive the strength for everything. And, you've mentioned that there are the laws of nature there, which we have to work with them. And in fact, I earlier talked about these other approaches or approaches in general, and we mentioned, for example, hypnotism, and let's say there are others, variety of them. And I said in one question, how do we know, without really knowing something, an approach, that it is beneficial or non or harmful even? And the word natural came to my mind. Is it that we should do things which are, let's say, in accordance with nature, or natural, as they say, and rather than some things which are, I'm just even trying to work that out, what it could be, which are not natural, things which are not natural. So let me not dwell on that just now. I will think about it a little bit more. So what I want to first ask here, Gregory, is that how does you could say, the cultivating of our virtue or our strength, how does that actually work in the laws of nature? Do we put out like I say, our free will? Do we say, within ourselves, do we say something, this is what we want to do within ourselves, and then nature sort of responds to that?
Consider the case of a farmer going to the farm to plant, say, rice. First, there is the need to have that grain of rice sown in the soil. That is the first step. There is the need, as that seed is growing, to prevent weeds around it by tending to that grain, which is becoming a plant. There is the need to ensure that it receives the right moisture. There is the need to keep tending to this plant, which now produces subsequently more rice grains. There is the need subsequently to harvest these grains, not one. There is the need to thresh the rice, to remove the husk from the real rice, and finally, after that separation, there is the need to bring it maybe in one's home or take it to the market. In that process, diligence is required. In that process, skillfulness is required. In that process, duty or the fulfillment of duty is required. In that process, vigilance and alertness is required. For if there is no alertness or vigilance, the likelihood is that some rodents or some other animals will come and dig it up, and there will be no harvest for you. So, to go back to your question, how do one, that scenario just painted, in which diligence comes in which skill comes in which vigilance and alertness comes in which the fulfillment of duty comes in which sometimes heroism comes in, and modesty, that particular scenario tells you how it should be, how the virtue must be cultivated. These virtues, which must start with small things, with little things. For after all, what do one refer to as big things? The accumulation of small things. It is that accumulation that make the big things. So apply these virtues to the small things which one wishes to achieve, be it the way one cares to arrange things, the way one cares to speak in clarity, be it in the way, in the inner attitude. That is what is referred to in the cultivation, that one must start with the small things. Subsequently, in measure, one may go to so-called big things.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this explanation and answer. And in this explanation, I mean, the approach we are to adopt, to work with the laws of nature, you can say, to develop or to deal with challenges, so that we have the strength for everything. That's what we're talking about here. Now, if Gregory, I mean, we know from what we've already had said that you can have confidence that the capability is there for us to. Well, first the help is there, the capability is there for us to to deal with challenges of life, that for our development, for whatever we face. Now, Gregory, let's look at another thing. Is there each person has to do that individually for themselves, or can they, like we grow in a family or have friends, can we learn from others as well?
You use the word to learn from others. If one is cultivating or learning a language of music, the only way you may learn from others is to stay close to them and see how they respond to the notes. Which notes and the arrangement of notes they have put together. But should you yourself wish to speak the language, then you must do it by yourself, not another person doing it, and then you say you learn from it. You may take at the beginning, you may take the expressions which they might have cultivated for themselves, because you are just starting. But subsequently, you are supposed to master this language of nature, and adjust your way of thinking, your way of speaking. In fact, all that you do, there is the need to adjust it so as to know how to express yourself. When one expresses oneself, there must have been an impression. There must have been, most likely, an intuitive impression That intuitive impression carries carries grace. It is the expression of that which has been impressed. It is how the human personality strive to express or not to express it. That is the difference you find in the human personalities here on earth. How that which has touched them, how they go about in the cultivation, or how they close themselves so that they will not cultivate that which has been passed on to them. But there is no one on earth who has not been granted that innate ability to perceive. Everyone is granted that innate ability to perceive intuitively. What has happened is how they use or not use this ability to express themselves.
Thank you again, Gregory, for this picture. I'm just thinking, this power that we are allowed to apply and use, to whether it's for good or for evil, or for, maybe that's not what I want to really say, but it's like we have this freedom, let me say, in we know this power doesn't come from us, that we use in our life, to whatever we build and so on. We just apply it, build this or build that. We make a decision and then, we apply it in one direction or another. I'm just thinking, Gregory, and nature is like, you could say, we operate within nature in that framework. But let's say the source of the power, the Creator, the Almighty, should we be grateful to be allowed to receive this power and to, give gratitude, that's what I'm saying, to the Creator for being allowed to receive and apply this power?
The gratitude which is genuine is that gratitude which swings unconditionally in the will of the Almighty. That is, using this power which is granted to the human personality, this power which makes it possible for the realization of self-consciousness, or first of consciousness and subsequently self-consciousness, if this power is used constructively to become of benefit to the user of this power, such that it becomes first conscious of the environment of itself, and then subsequently self-conscious in accordance with the will which made it possible, then that in itself is gratitude. Else, the opportunities and the power which has been granted the human personality to cultivate its talent, which talents are the virtues, that opportunity, that power as being in vain. One may not say that which has been done in vain is gratitude.
Thank you for this answer there, Gregory. Just thinking about this. Should some things we achieve and some things we don't achieve, and I don't mean let's focus on the beneficial aims and wishes. So if we don't achieve something, would that be like a failure, or it's just something? I'm trying to think how to put that. Just do we need to just develop, keep going and not give up to the things that we haven't achieved?
When you mention that which we need to achieve, there's the need to be a bit more specific. Will it be the achievements of the virtues, depending on the degree of the achievement, or the achievement of the intellect? Which ones is one referring to?
Again, the virtues.
If one understands what the virtues are, then becomes clear that, for instance, the cultivation of diligence, that many opportunities are provided. In fact, these opportunities are provided first in little things. That already calls for the cultivation of humility.
Gregory, sorry to interrupt you. Something came in my head now as you were speaking, and apologies for coming in. I just want to give, like you said, let's be more specific. And I'm thinking of something, let's say in most times we are able to control our anger and be calm in the situation. But sometimes we get triggered and lose and do get angry, And I know it's not about anger is not a virtue, I know, but let's say calmness is, or patience is. And so you lose patience and you get angry with somebody, as say, and you don't, let's say, in most cases, 90% cases, you are able to keep the calm and be patient. But in 10% cases, whatever the situation happens, that you do get angry. So that's, you could say, have failed in being patient. And so
sorry, so that because time is running out, so we don't.
Yes. So yes. So
the question one may ask you yourself.
Yes.
Is that when you say one loses patience, do you know the challenges of the other personality? One is unaware, or one does not know of the challenges of the other personality in whom one has lost patience. Your lack of understanding has now been translated into impatience. For if that personality, you are expecting from a personality that which that personality does not yet have, then the challenge is not of that personality, but your own personal challenge. For you should not expect from one that which he or she does not yet have. It's like you expect someone to speak a language, which language he or she has just started. He doesn't speak the language and you lose your patience. That lack of understanding is in itself an error.
Thank you, Gregory, for that. And then I apologize if I interrupted you there, but I just thought it was good to give a sort of a good example to look at it, this situation. Now,
yes, I was looking at the time because you may read something.
Yes. So yes, listeners, we've come to the end of the show tonight. I hope you've enjoyed our discussion on you are endowed with the strength for everything. It's a very inspirational topic, and I hope we were able to, you enjoyed the discussion. And I wanted to let you know, listeners, this topic or this title we chose, it came from a line which is a lecture, let's say, I haven't quoted it exactly, but it is from a lecture called Silence. In the Grail message is almost the last line of that lecture. And I would really urge you to pick up the Grail message and not just jump in to read this lecture as such, but if you are interested in this topic, then maybe you might want to do that. But what I really want to point to is what we have discussed tonight has, been, let's say, you will find much more in the Grail message about it. And so I really urge you to pick up the Grail message for, to discover that. And you'll really feel, I can say, it'll be like a privilege to know these things. So I'm going to just read a very short bit before we say goodbye. And that is, you could say, the first page of the Grail message, In the Light of Truth, by Abdushin. And it is titled, Free Yourself from All Darkness. He who makes no effort to grasp the word of the Lord aright burdens himself with guilt. This is on the first page of the Grail message. So if you are interested in knowing more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, please go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. And I'll just spell that. It's www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. Gregory, anything you would like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing every listener a wonderful and joyful New Year 2023.
Thank you very much. And yes, listeners, I too wish you a joyful New Year 2023, full of blessings, happiness, love, and joy. We'll be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with another topic. I wish you all a great week. God bless. Good night.